Hi, everyone. This is Camden Busey for the Squared Away Life podcast. And I'm back home. It's been a couple weeks since I've been home and since I've recorded a video. That's because I've been on the road. I've been in Europe. I visited Germany and Hungary and Austria. Visited some friends. I spoke at a conference. Had a wonderful time. And as I'm returning, I'm working through a lot of my notes and looking at my Obsidian entries, and thought I'd share a little tip with you about what I often like to do, especially when I'm traveling. So, as you know, I take notes in Obsidian. You can see my Obsidian here. And I often record notes with a timestamp, and then I write. So that helps me to know not only on my daily note, my daily log, what I've been doing throughout the day, but also I try to include the location. So I know what I've been doing throughout the day, when, but then especially if I'm on the road, I try to include a location. For a long time, I would just type that, such as I did here. But you'll notice here there's an actual link. Let me go into the editing mode here. You'll see there's the link to Vienna, Austria, and then a link to Google Maps, where I could click that, and it has a longitude and a latitude, and it would open up that location down to the whatever, how many decimal points on that longitude and latitude, a lot. So I like doing this because over time, and especially when I review my notes, I can see things and I have a location context and I understand where I was, and especially if I'm on a trip, it can help me remember my specific location. Now, I don't make this manually. I have a system where I can use hotkeys to insert my current location, also my current time. So if I type time, TTIME, it automatically converts that. See that again. It automatically converts that to the current time. I've also created a script that will run that when I type location with 2 L's, again, I don't want it to run. I don't want it to fire every time I use the word location, but I just start it with 2 L's, because when am I going to type that? Location. It takes a second. It's checking the GPS, and will very shortly insert my location. There it is, a link. Well, how do I do that? Well, let me show you. On a Mac, it's not that complicated. The first thing I do is I created a shortcut, and you can see here in the Mac shortcut section, I grab the current location, then it feeds to a text block, and it inserts the first opening bracket, so it's making the format of a link in Markdown for Obsidian. City, comma, state, and then in parentheses, this Google Maps link, and that's their format, https://maps.google.com/?LL equals, then latitude, comma, longitude, end parentheses. Then it runs to a stop and output, spits out the text that you just made here, and then if there's nowhere to output, then do nothing. Okay, so now I have a shortcut that I can fire that'll run this. How do I get it to fire when I type something? That's where I use this wonderful app called Alfred. I love Alfred. I use Alfred for all sorts of things on my Mac. But here is a workflow I created in Alfred. I've named it current location. It can be fired one of 2 ways. So either by typing this keyword, location. So if I go to the Alfred, so I have a command space as my shortcut to open up this Alfred dialog. And I select current location, if I were to hit enter right now, it would fire. The other way is to run this snippet. So anytime I type location with 2 L's, it will fire this script. And that feeds to this. It will run this shortcut, current location, and then it copies it to the clipboard. And then I have this one set to automatically paste to frontmost app, and then to mark the item as transient in the clipboard, so it's not taking up my clipboard given what I previously copied. So in effect, what it does is it runs the script, adds that to the clipboard, pastes it to the frontmost app, and then marks it as transient, so I can still paste whatever I previously had copied before I ran the script. That's pretty much it. So it's a handful of steps, but once you create this script, you have the wonderful way of whenever you're writing a note, just to type L location, and it will fire off the script and insert a link where you are. You do that over time on a bunch of different trips, and as you move around the country or move around the world, you've got little breadcrumbs about where you are and what you've been doing. It's wonderful. Hope you enjoyed this. If you got any questions, you can send me an email at mail@squaredawaylife.com. Thanks so much for watching and for listening. My name is Camden Busey. You've been watching Squared Away Life.